Alan here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about one of those absolute truths to knife fighting that I absolutely disagree with. And that is, if you're in a knife fight, you're going to get cut. Or some people will teach it, in a knife fight, expect to get cut. I don't teach either of those, because the truth is, you may be in a knife fight where you don't get cut. Many people have been in knife fights where they did not get cut. And then that whole expect to get cut, that's nonsense. I don't want some self-fulfilling prophecy to occur. And if you remember Earl Nightingale's strangest secret, you become what you think about most. Well, I don't want to be thinking about getting cut and have that happen. I don't want to manifest something happening that maybe won't. Now, will you get cut in a knife fight? I don't know. Yes, no, maybe. So you must be prepared for the potential to get cut. I'm not trying to paint this with rose-colored glasses and all Pollyanna and say you won't get cut in a knife fight. You might, and you need to be prepared for it. And there are things that I teach and others teach that can help minimize the damage if you do get cut. You know, I'd rather be cut on the outer part of my arm than on the inner part of my arm where, you know, you would commit suicide across the wrist because that's where the arteries are, where you're going to bleed the quickest. So I don't want to get cut there. I'd rather get cut on the back of the hand or the back of the wrist. Okay, so there are things we can do to minimize if we do get cut, but quit going out there saying you will get cut. Expect to get cut. That's nonsense. You know, I've been saying this since the early 90s, and I still, today, I see people saying it or writing it or wherever they're posting, whether it's a video on YouTube, a video DVD, an article, a book. And it's just not so. And that's why I continue to try to preach, don't expect to get cut. Don't teach you will get cut. Just prepare for the potential of being cut. And if it happens, you deal with it. But it might not. Now, not everybody teaches it like this. I mean, I've heard a few people, and every time I hear one, when they say it, I applaud and say yes. You know, and some very notable people, Bob Casper, Kelly McCann, Nick Hughes, all great instructors that know an awful lot about actual combat and about knife fighting. All three of those are among the group that say, don't expect to get cut. Don't say you'll always get cut. So I'm proud to be in that group. But just stop if you're one of those saying expect to get cut. And yes, some people are going to slam me for this video. I can see it already. People are going to be arguing with me and bashing me. Well, go ahead. Because what I'm saying is the truth as I've seen it and as I've learned from others. Especially those three instructors I just mentioned. You know, you don't get much better with knives and actual combat than Bob Casper, Kelly McCann, Nick Hughes. And there are others out there too, but those are three off the top of my head. So quit teaching, expect to get cut, and you'll always get cut. Just prepare for it. And then teach realistic things that a person can do in an actual knife attack. Now, if you are in a martial art and you are learning that art, I understand learning certain techniques that might not be as practical because you're trying to preserve the art. I learned techniques in Hapkido that I don't really like. I don't think they're practical in most situations, but I keep them in the curriculum because I'm passing on the art as I learned it from my instructors in Korea. Now, but that's when you're teaching martial artists and they are learning the art. And I try to point out the things that I don't really like for real combat, but it's still in the art. And I try to differentiate those to my students and let them choose and decide what they want to work on the most, whether it's the art or the practical purposes. Now, when I'm teaching people that could care less about martial arts, and all they want is a quick way to defend themselves if they have to, then we go into more practical, realistic things, and we don't do some of the martial art techniques that are found in all sorts of martial arts. Okay? And I actually, I have a little bit of knife stuff in Survive a Shooting. Even though it's called Survive a Shooting, not all active threats and active killers wield firearms. We have had active threats and active killers stabbing and killing people with blades. And people are attacked with blades in workplace violence type situations, which this book is meant for. So the active shooter triangle also works against knives. And the active shooter triangle, first you can escape. If you can escape, do so. It's not always possible. Then you can deny access. If you can lock that guy out of your room, he can't get in with the knife, you're safe. Another way to deny, like I show in the book, is to get a chair or something between you and him, denying him that close proximity to stab or cut you. So you can deny access that way. You can deny access by getting a weapon that has a longer range. A cane, a club, a stick, a baseball bat. Something that gives you the range so they can't come in and stab you. And then, if you cannot deny access and you cannot escape, you attack back and you take the guy out. And that doesn't mean a lot of these fancy martial art techniques. It means simple things to stop yourself from being cut and knock that guy's head off. What some people forget is if I hit you in the head really hard and it knocks you out and you drop the knife as you're falling to the ground, that is a disarm. You don't have to grab the wrist or grab this and twist that way and twist that way and take the blade out of someone's hand to be a disarm. You can hit him in the head really hard, knock him out, he drops the knife, he's disarmed. You're not cut, you go home safely, and that's the goal. I teach a fire extinguisher in here. Guy with a knife, you blast him in his face. When he's going like this because of his face is full of the fire retardant, you smash him in the head with the canister. He'll drop the knife if you smash him in the head hard enough. Okay, there are other distance weapons you can use as well. But I'm just saying we have to get past the mentality that you will get cut. We can't be expecting to get cut. And we can't think that the martial art disarms that involve complicated moves are the most effective way to take a knife out of a modern day knife attacker. And when I say modern day knife attacker, what does that encompass? Well, it could be somebody that's trained, or it could be somebody on drugs or some other mental impairment that just has them slashing around. And it doesn't matter if the guy is trained and cuts you, or he's flailing and cuts you. You're cut, right? We don't want either of them. So we escape, we deny access, we attack back immediately and stop the guy. And usually that's by attacking the head, knocking the guy out. Whether that's with a good hammer fist, whether it's with a club, a rock that you pick up, or the fire extinguisher. I don't care what it is, as long as you attack back violently and take the guy out for trying to hurt you. So that's my little spiel on knife work for today. And I just wanted to get past that expect to get cut, you'll always get cut nonsense. It's not true. It's not the mindset you should have. The mindset you should have is to do whatever you have to do to stop that person so you go home safe to your family. If you're single, you go home safe by yourself so you can have a family in the future. Right? So that's the mindset I want you to have. Forget about that expecting to be cut. Forget about you'll always be cut, because it's just not true. Escape, deny, attack back. Whatever it takes for you to go home safe and enjoy life safely.